So one thing I notice when people are getting into things like the Barry Harris improvisation rules, or anything in jazz to be honest, is taking on way too much information rather than getting good at one little piece. So that's what we're going to do today. Just taking the major rule and running it into some phrases to see how it works. The rule for major is when you're descending a scale, we'll just work in C. When you're descending a scale from the root, notice how if I just take a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, all the wrong notes fall on the beat to outline C major, right? But if we add in this extra note between the 6 and the 5, between the A and the G, right? Then now the notes that fall on the beat give us something that gives us more of the sound of that major, put it that way. You do that every time you descend from a chord note. So you do that if you descend from the 3, with the extra note always in the same place, from the 5th. When you cross the octave line only, from the 7th, which leaked into the next bar, right? Let's say you descend from the root. And then from the 2, you do not need the extra note. Because you see you have the same amount of notes, and therefore you will arrive at the same place at the same time, so you don't need the extra. There are advanced rules as well that we teach on Jazz Skills where you add extra notes if you are descending from the 2, the 4 and the 6, or more than one note if you're descending from the chord notes, the 1, 3, 5, 7. But as I said, we're going to keep it simple. So let's build some phrases. Let's take a chord and join it to a scale. Ascending chord, descending scale. So I'm going to take chords in the C major scale, nothing fancier than that, okay? I'm going to put in a very little chord progression, so we'll say C major to either C major 7 or C major 6. We'll see when we use each one, and then we'll go to an A7 in a 1, 6, 2, 5 progression where the 6 is dominant. If you're not used to doing stuff like this, for improv, have a look at another video that I will link below, or videos, I'll see what I've got. We use the D harmonic minor to play over that particular A7. This is the D harmonic minor from A, because it's the 5th of that harmonic minor scale. We won't get deeper into that now, but either I'll use some chord notes from the A7, and we'll add this extra note on top. So this is a diminished chord in the right hand. Some people call it a flat 9. You've got 1, 3, 5, 7 with a flat 9 on there, fine. We'll use some of this stuff and see if some scale stuff comes in as well. If you're enjoying this lesson, would you please give it a like and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when there's a new video. A positive comment in the comments section really helps as well. And if it's time to level up your playing and get some freedom, then consider joining us on Jazz Skills. More about that at the end. For now, let's get back to the lesson. So, C major is a bar. You know what beginners are going to do wrong? They're going to put the next chord in the wrong place because they're not thinking time. This improv game is all about time, so be thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3. So I said I would play chord notes on the A7. Why did I play a bit of scale and then chord notes? Because notice something interesting. If we take just the C major scale, and then take, let's say, the D harmonic minor scale, which we were talking about for the A7, weren't we? You can see which notes differ. It's these two, right? So think of it this way. The B goes down and the C goes up, and then we've got the D harmonic minor, right? With all the other notes that are common to C major as well. Why is that handy? Because if you play, let's say you play something like this. Let's just keep on C. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. That's where I play a 6th chord when I end up on the root on an important beat like 1 or 3. Okay, but now if I move to the A7 on that second bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. These notes are in both scales, but I've got to raise the C, right? So this is just C major. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. This is C major to A7. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Now from here you could decide to improvise or that you're going to go up a diminished. then land on that D minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Great, we're starting to get phrases already. So that's going to be our first one. Let's see if we can do a few more. So the next thing I like to do is mess with what I already have. So for example, I'll take that and cut off the first note. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Fine. And again. No problem, right? Or I could put an extra note before what we had before, a half step before. So that, now you got to think time, right? That's got to be on the 4 and. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So we've already got 3 ways to play just one phrase. There would be more as well, but let's try some other phrases as well. Let's pick a number to descend from. Let's have the 3 because we can make use of that extra note. Remember when we descend from the 1, 3, 5 or 7, we put in the extra there, right? So let's have, fine, okay. So that will be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. So remember, this is still common to, these are still common to the C major scale and the D harmonic minor scale. So we can just be thinking about not even changing until we get here, right? If we're aware of where we are in which bar. We can have a major 7 with this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Up the diminished. Down the scale. Exit on a D minor note. Perfect. Let me do it a bit quicker. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, fine. Now let's have something that maybe joins scale to scale. I don't know what's going to happen yet. I like putting myself in these positions to see how I'm going to get out. I'm going to start on this note. I'm going to go up to this note. I'm going to run from here to here and down and see if I need the extra note or not. Let's see. Well, the chord's changed by then, so maybe that's not a great example. Let's have a smaller distance. Let's go from C to F. That'll be okay, right? So we're running from C to F. Can you feel where the bar changes? Right, so it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. I still use the extra note, but it still works because we're really just thinking C major and changing these 2 notes, right? When we need to. Okay, let's begin one on the second beat of the bar so we're not always starting stuff on 1. So let's descend 1 from the 2. Remember, we don't need the extra note from 2. So I'm going to say 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Up the diminished, down the scale. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, up the diminished, down the scale to end on a D minor note. And of course you can continue that and improvise it differently each time. If I descended from the 3, I would need the extra note, right? So let's see what happens if I descend from the 3 on the second beat of the bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Works out fine, right? So 1, 2, 3 and 4, extra note 1 and 2 and diminished for the A7. Exit on a D minor note. So we're getting a bit of a template here, right? Of seeing if we need to add an extra note or not and exiting on a D minor note. Last one, I'm just going to see what happens if I put in a triplet between, let's say, 4 and 5. There's 4 and 5. You know, people say don't start on the 4th. It's not true. You can start on the 4th as long as you make the line figure out later, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Triplet 2 and 3 and 4 and. You can hear that that extra note was required. Why? Because 1 triplet 2. The E is on 2. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So if one of these notes is on the beat as well, that's a good time to add that extra note. Okay, let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fine, there's our chord change, right? And then we can decide what we're going to do. Let's run up the scale, down the diminished. And a surround note here's a surround note or an enclosure, half step enclosure of the A, right? Let's try it again. Can I remember this one? Got it. So we've got triplet, 2 and 3, and down the scale, up, down the diminished, enclosure, gets us out on a D minor note on the 5th of it, right? On the beat. Let me do that one again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this is just a taste. I'm going fairly quickly, but there's so much to be had from taking any one of these things and getting deeper and deeper. What happens if you take a phrase and cut off the first note? What happens if you add an extra note before the beginning of the phrase, as we did? What happens if you add 2 extras? All those sorts of things. Try not to take too much on and give yourself the skill of taking that one principle of that one extra note between 6 and 5 and see what happens in your playing. If it's time to level up your playing, then come and see us on Jazz Skills, where we won't just drown you in information, but we'll focus on your transformation in a structured way with support from me and a vibrant community as well. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.